I'm apparently streaming live now, so what's up? How you doing? Comic Book University After Dark. Ooh yeah. Ooh yeah. Ooh, no, I'm not gonna do all that stuff. All right, so it looks like we've got two books to check out this week. Two Dawn of Books. Oh God. Okay. No, I can do this. I can do this. Two Dawn of X books. We have got Excalibur issue number 2 and Marauders issue number 2. Booyah! All right, so y'all know the rules now, right? You can ask questions. I will typically go and answer all these questions at the end, but only questions related to the Dawn of X world. Not answering questions about others that you come to the 8 o'clock Saturday night Eastern Standard Time podcast for all your general Ask Me Anything questions. Then, it's open forum, do whatever. So, what's up to everybody that's in the chat? Martin P., I see you. What's going on? Dashing Lance, Scott Fitzgerald. Oh, geez. Spell check and fact check, history check is here early. Oh, geez, double duty because Raven's here also. Okay, let's get started in this, all right? Let's get started in this. So, we have got two books to check out, haircut and beard cut. Yes. Okay, so we have got Excalibur issue number 2. We're going to get onto this first. We're going to be like, hey. And we've got Teeny Howard is the writer. We've got art by Marcus Toe, color art, Eric Arcianega, and VC's Corey Petit on letters. The design is by Tom Euler, cover art, Mohammed Asrar and Matthew Wilson. Let's see. Otto Schmidt does a variant cover and another one by Mike McCone and Rachel Rosenberg. Head of X, Jonathan Hickman. This was a fun book. Right on the first page, gets you rethinking all of history. How crying out loud, right there. Gets you rethinking all of history there. We see these druids on the front, at least they look like druids. They got the little laurels in their hair. Hey, what's up, Saud Athani? Hey, buddy, good to see you again. It's good to see you again too, Saud. How you doing over there in Qatar? So we have got. Oh, and yeah, dances later in the show. Okay. Um, so we've got these two little kids here. This is actually really interesting, and this shows that Teeny Howard has a good feel for who Apocalypse is. There are these two mutants. Their mutant power is that they are able to never get lost as long as they're both together. Okay, so as long as these two twins always stay together, they will never get lost. That was never a problem. All right, so Apocalypse trusted them to go out about the world, do their thing, and be like, hey, we're going to go out and we're going to find some peeps. We're going to spread the message, all right, and all that good stuff. The problem is, even though their navigation was never a problem, their seaworthiness was. So these knuckleheads didn't know how to properly use a boat and not too far out, like within sight of shore, they wound up sinking and drowning. Why didn't Apocalypse save them? This is where we know that Teeny Howard knows who this character is, because Apocalypse doesn't save people. He doesn't save people if they die of their own accord, of something that they could have fixed on their own. Hey, if somebody were to come in and try to attack these two, Apocalypse would have been like, what? Boom, 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 and blown these guys away, right? No, that's not what happened. Instead, it was these two knuckleheads not knowing how to operate a freaking raft. In his opinion, they deserved to die, and it messed with his plans. But that's his survival of the fittest form, right? He is the epitome of evolution. In fact, all mutants came from him, right? Well, that's about to change. The entire status quo and the entire history of mutants is about to change right now, big time. Because check this out. Right on that first page, it says something very important. It says, Apocalypse was the first of his kind, but it is a misconception that he was their common ancestor. In time, other mutants appeared all over. That made me stop. I put down the book. I started thinking to myself, wow, this changes everything. Apocalypse was indeed the first mutant. That's not changed. But it precluded the idea that other mutants sprung up throughout time without coming from him directly. It indicates that he's the father of all these mutants, right? Well, we've seen that Oh, what the heck is her name? She teleports. She has the little daggers that teleport and whatnot. I know her name. She was great in Age of Apocalypse. She's actually a distant relative of Apocalypse, right? Anyway, I know her name. One of y'all are gonna correct me, and thank you very much for doing that in advance. Um, what do you call it? Anyway, yeah, she's one of the relatives of Apocalypse. But it kind of blank. Thank you, Scott Fitzgerald. I figured it was going to be either you or Raven. Anyway, so what do you call it? All these mutants don't necessarily come from Apocalypse. The way that we look at it is this: you look at basic evolution. Okay, we are related to chimps, but we don't come from chimps. Okay, as human beings, we're related to chimps. We don't come from chimps. That's not what evolution says. In fact, it simply says that we have a common ancestor. So here's humans, here's chimps, and all of our ancient relatives, we had a common ancestor. So we're kind of like cousins, but it doesn't go beyond that. You know what I'm saying? Like clearly we're not even kissing cousins because that's just disgusting. But we are not from the same evolutionary branch. We simply have a common ancestor. That's it. All right. So maybe just an offspring or whatever. Okay, an offshoot. Similarly, you think of the way that the Celestials worked. When the Celestials came down, they created the Eternals. They also created the Deviants, which are arguably just mutants. When the Celestials created deviants, they didn't create one deviant and have all the other deviants spring from that deviant. No, 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 no. Let's say there were, I don't remember exactly how many there were. I don't remember if there was ever a number given. I thought that there was a specific number. I thought it was like eight or something like that. So let's just use the number eight. Okay. Let's say you have eight deviants created. They're all going to have little deviant children, and they're all considered deviants. But the one that comes from this line is not necessarily related to the one that comes from this line. So they're not all related. They just have a common ancestry. That would be the Celestials saying, basically, B. And boom, there you go. So that is very interesting that they go and they put that up there. What's this no judgment thing? Oh, for being late. That's funny. So that right away got me, like, oh wow, they're really about to go deep with this. I love that. I love that. So we go more into the book. Um, I remember when Rogue wound up getting this thing going. And by the way, is there anything more beautiful than a naked sleeping Rogue? Maybe that just sounds a little bit creepy, and I don't want there to necessarily be a creep factor, but Rogue is just gorgeous, man. I'm just saying. All right, so the Destiny awaits thee. There's this whole thing here with all the mutants that are going to be featured in here. There's a thing here. It doesn't mean anything. It's just words. But Captain Britain is here. Apocalypse is here. Jubilee is here. Rogue, Gambit, Shogo, and Kate Pride. Um, the Captain Britain thing. Look, I get it. Betsy Braddock, she's Captain Britain now. I'm kind of hoping this doesn't last too long, or at least that she chooses to take a different name. I get it that it's a title, but it's a little weird, man. It's a little weird. It's like, didn't we already go through a phase not too long ago where it really ticked off a whole lot of people, sometimes the wrong crowd, where, let's face it, we have um oh, there are bushfires out in uh the outback. I hope that everybody's okay out there. I hope that everybody's safe out there. So, just the idea that she's named after another character, she's taken the name of another character. I hope that there's someplace good they're going to go with this. Maybe they'll do something different with Brian Braddock. But just the idea of one character taking another character's name, I really thought that we were done with that. It's like Thor is Thor again, not Lady Jane. You still have the two Spider-Man. Actually, there's like a billion Spider-Mans now, but like I thought we were done with that. I really did. Um, Anyway, moving on. I'm not sure why Rogue is unconscious like this. Like the way that it happened in the previous issue, it was like it just happened. There didn't seem to be that big of an explanation. There's no explanation for it here either. It's just, oh, she's asleep and stuff. It's like, dude, can you please explain it? What's going on? Um, what happens? There's the Selkie show up. The Selkie are basically like this is Teeny Howard just playing Dungeons and Dragons, and I'm good with it. These guys show up and they're going after these guys, these monsters and whatnot. Look up the Selkie. They're ancient and like Irish folklore, I think it is, but they're also in Dungeons and Dragons. Very similar origin story. So these guys all get into it with each other. At this point, the whole book kind of starts to go a little bit askew because weird things happen at this point. Betsy realizes that they came from Morgan Le Fay. They got to get away. But then everybody's like, where'd they come from? Did they come from Morgan Le Fay? Well, I'm not sure. And then later on, like, oh, I'm positive it had to come from Morgan Le Fay. Okay, well, do you know? Do you not know? Do you know again? Like, what's going on? I don't get it. And I don't think these characters do either. There's a part in here where the characters are sitting around after a big battle where they technically won, but the lighthouse disappeared. The lighthouse disappeared. There's no trace of the lighthouse yet. You find out later that the lighthouse was burnt down by what's that character's name? They gave the character's name in here. You remember they had the one character, Mariana Stern. She's the you can actually see it right here. She's the character you'll recognize her. She's the one who lived, who killed all the other ones, and then seems to be taken in by Clan Akaba, the Coven of Akaba over in Otherworld. It's kind of weird. It's like, why exactly is this happening right now? I don't understand. Mi no capisce, eh? So anyway, they're just sitting around and they're all like, huddling and they're all really sad and they're lonely and they're moping and nobody's happy anymore. I'm like, dude, did like Psycho Man show up? Does anybody remember Psycho Man? Did Psycho Man show up? And everybody's like, oh, we're gonna make you all sad now. Like they're all mopey. They're all. I don't get it. I don't see the purpose for it. I don't see any reason on earth or Otherworld for these characters to be acting like this. It just doesn't make sense. They're all just a bunch of mopey X-Men sniping at each other, saying, getting upset at each other. It's like, what the heck is going on? At one point, it's like it's unnecessarily convoluted. There's these druid characters. I'm usually a big fan of druids in stories, but these guys so far there's no purpose for them. So far there's like zero purpose. I'm hoping that later on something winds up happening, that's like, oh, these guys are really important. But for right now, it's like, yeah, there are druids in the book. I don't know why. It's like, why did The Undertaker have druids for a longest time over in WWE, right? Whatever, man. Anyhow, there's a part where where nobody can see them except for Betsy, because she's, I guess, using her telepathy to see it. They ask her, "Are you a seer?" Well, apparently she is now. Apparently she can see into the future. But if she can see into the future, well, then wouldn't Moira have not let her come into the universe, right? Wouldn't they have not let her come back? So, there's that. Um, anyway, yeah, so she can see them. Nobody else can see them. Gambit at one, they basically say, "Oh yeah, somebody burnt down your lighthouse. These people came and they burnt down your lighthouse." Oh, okay. So isn't there any sign of it? There's no ashes, there's no nothing. Like there was a huge fire that burnt down the Braddock family lighthouse. Not a single mark out there. Okay. Interesting. Like it was burnt, it was incinerated, no ashes, nothing. Nothing. Okay. Cute. Anyway, so maybe you're figuring they're all mopey because of that, right? No, they immediately get a new lighthouse, just magically. Bloop, there you go. Here's a new lighthouse. So why is everybody so sad? Ugh, for crying out loud. Anyway, so this is just kind of weird, man. It's mm. Fierce Daddy, I hear you, but everybody's depressed. Everybody's mopey for no reason. Freaking here, to give you an example, Jubilee is like, I'm so sad I left Shogo behind. I think I'm going to go get Shogo. Why would you bring Shogo? There's all these Selkie creatures all over the place. And then somebody goes and says, well, you're Shogo's mom. Okay, not really. You're Shogo's mom, so I trust you if you want to bring Shogo here. I'm not going to judge you. Has anybody ever heard of Child Protective Services? Because that's a really stupid idea. Anyway, she goes and gets Shogo. Once she gets Shogo, guess what happens? All of a sudden, there's a big monster situation. They're being attacked by these creatures and whatnot. And it's like, oh no, and Apocalypse has to come by and help. Betsy's like, no, don't help. He's like, can I please help? Because these things are obviously going to beat you up. No, 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 no. I don't need your help. He's like, yeah, okay, I'm helping. And it's just boom. Why did you help? Because you're about to die? I, I don't know. Am I wrong? Okay, it sounds fierce Stady like you are an obstinate defender, in which case there's no arguing with you. You have your opinion, I have mine. Yours isn't going to change based on what you read. You're always going to believe what you believe. That's cool, brother. That's cool. For me, I need a little bit of realism in it. I think that an actual good mother doesn't bring her child into danger. Oh, child gets brought into danger because at the end of the book, we're going to get into the end of the book. Shogo gets turned into a giant dragon. Yeah, it actually says down here at the bottom, like he breathes out the word Shogo, and this is how dumb everybody is, I guess, because they're so mopey or whatnot. Inexplicably, even though they can hear him say, we can clearly see him say Shogo. Everybody else is like, my baby? Where did that come from? Where is my baby? It just freaking said the one word that it knows how to pronounce. You freaking morons! The dragon is Shogo! We can clearly see it, plain as day! And yet nobody in the book knows what's going on. I have stated many times, formerly a publisher, okay, for a really small rinky-dinky place that didn't go anywhere, but I'm a former publisher. Based on the credentials of being a former university English professor, okay, there are certain things that are crucial in literature. One of them is, if your character seems smarter than the rest of than the people reading the people reading the book are going to feel stupid. It's like everybody in the book knows what's going on, but I don't know what's going on. Did I miss something? You start turning pages back. You don't know what's going on. You feel like, I missed something. On the inverse, if the characters in the book don't know something that the reader does, the reader starts thinking these characters are all stupid. Guess what I think right now? Every single one of these characters are jackasses. They can't figure out up from down. They're all dumb. I'm going to take it a step further. There's something that's written in here which is absolutely like bona fide okay? It's somebody trying to sound smart, but it's not smart. Okay. Gambit goes and says after the druids, who are invisible, they're invisible. Nobody can see them. Betsy is using some kind of special power, maybe the otherworld power or whatever, so that she can see them. She actually says at one point, you guys can't see the guys in green robes over there? And I was like, no, we don't see anybody. Well, I'm going to go over and I'm going to talk to them. Okay, Betsy, be careful of, the invisible people over there. Be careful. At one point, after this is all done, she's like, I'm going to act on what they said. Gambit says, are you sure you trust the invisible people? Here's the moment where Betsy Braddock, Captain Britain right now, decides to say something profound and intelligent, written by Teenie Howard. She says, I want to get it right. I want to get it perfectly right. I don't want there to be a mistake in me saying this. She says, and there's a whole bunch of talk about seeing things and whatnot. She responds, for crying out loud. I know it's in here somewhere. Like I said, I don't want to get it right. Okay. He says, we take in their invisible word for it. She says, they aren't invisible just because you can't see them. Let's just talk basic, like look this up in a dictionary, for crying out loud. Look it up online. Look it up in your thesaurus, all right? The word invisible literally means you cannot see them. So when you say, when I say for crying out loud, that's like, dude, what the frick? Just because they're invisible doesn't mean you can't see them, or just because you can't see them doesn't mean they're invisible. And just because this reminds me, I was just showing my kids the Phantom Menace, all right, episode 1 of Star Wars, and there's the one part where where Qui-Gon says, "Are you stupid?" and to Jar Jar Binks, and Jar Jar says, "I speak." And he's like, just because you could speak doesn't preclude the idea that you're not intelligent. And this is one of those situations. Oh my God, listen, when I was young, and I'm going to take you back now, okay? I was this cool guy back in the 80s, all right? And like any good 80s kid, or I was born in 75, but like any good 80s kid, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm talking about, this prolific, good-looking kid. I was walking around, what I'm saying? This is like 1993. No, 1994, because I'm taking a break from the military. and I'm going to school at nights, okay? I'm going to school at nights, and I'm studying, wait for it, philosophy. Oh, that's right. Because I'm this cool kid driving a Mustang, wearing all denim. I told you, this is the 80s. Driving a Mustang, and I'm driving to a philosophy classes because, I'm this really cool, big thinker guy, and I got all the honeys talking to me, all right? It's like, that's the way you do it. And I had this one thing I say when I used to study metaphysics and thaumaturgy and the occult and stuff like that. Oh, 100%, dude. I say this thing that just like, dude, check this out. Listen to this. Listen to this. Listen to this. So, like Socrates, Socrates. So, check this out. I used to say, you know, there's life out there. Just because you don't see it doesn't mean that there's a whole lot more out there. Like, there is a lot of life out there. Case in point, we know that there's microbacteria and protozoa all over, right? Now, imagine if you take up one grain of sand from a beach, any grain of sand, any beach. You pick it up and you look at it, and you get an electron microscope, and an electron microscope on top of that, far beyond what we can do with science, okay? And of course, way further than we can do with the naked eye. And you look down, and if you were to see life teeming, what if you could look closer still and you'd see that they actually have society, civilizations, language, some sort of technology showing that they're actually sentient, intelligent life forms? And they would look up and see us and imagine now, if you will, that one day we look up and we happen to see a giant eye looking down at us. I am telling you right now, back in the day, that used to get women's legs rubbing together like crickets. I'm telling you, dude, I was the freaking man. I was a superhero. People used to speak of me in legend. I am positive there is some kind of bronze statue out there of me somewhere in some freaking college dormitory, okay? Because that's how freaking cool I was back in the day. But then I grew up and I stopped saying silly stuff like that. Just because something's invisible doesn't mean that you can't see. Shut up. Like, what is that? Ah, anyway, so all the way in the back, this is the thing that really kills me about this. We're going to have a pointless, oh, there's a druid lullaby in the back. Yay. Um, we're going to go all the way into the back of this. And the next issue, this is the thing that kills me. I feel like we're going to have an issue where they're doing something that every reader is going to say, okay, please stop doing this because it's just a waste of time. I don't want to read something that everybody knows how this is going to end. Nobody wants to do that. So they got the thing on the back. This says, slay the dragon. Next, slay the dragon. But the dragon is Shogo. Come on, man. Come on, man. Like, really? They're going to have to kill the freaking dragon? Fine, whatever. Oh, there's also some stuff in here that doesn't make a lot of sense. Sorry. I should also point out the thing that's over here. It's right here. This thing. This is the only thing in here that's actually supposed to be something. It's like from the grimoires of Apocalypse. You can see his Apocalypse. That's actually his name. It's not just the letter A. It's his symbol for Apocalypse, that unpronounceable thing, like Prince back in the day. What do you call it? It says when you do the translation, it says focus one on the bottom, and it says gate down here. Up top, it says focus two, and that empowered focus set, focus two, and that's pinnacle. So pinnacle, like the top of something, not pinochle, which is a card game that I never learned how to play. Anyway, yeah, so the theoretical yield and stuff like that. None of this stuff makes any sense. I've never seen this in magical books, thematological stuff, even the Llewellyn stuff. I've never seen stuff like this before. It's just really weird, man. It's really weird. So I don't know what this is supposed to be. Something about the people. If you, what happens? We are level twos. You are only level ones. But even being level ones, you're still greater than non-levels, I guess, because even in death, you're still useful. So I guess that means that they're talking about gates and pinnacles and stuff like that. They're still able to like change stuff. They're still able to like, I don't know, summon things and gate people in and stuff like that. Eh, I guess they can still be used for teleportation or something or summoning demons. I don't know. I don't know. I'm trying to put everything together. It's really weird. All of it's just really freaking weird. Let's get talking about the Marauders. This didn't have as much in it, but it was still a much more fun book. So let's turn to the opening page, the Royal We. Jerry Duggan on writing, Matty O'Lally on art, Federico Blee doing the color art, and VC's Corey Petit doing the letters. The design is by Tom Mueller. Russell Dauterman and Matthew Wilson do the cover art. Variant cover by Tony Moore and John Roush. Head of X, of course, Jonathan Hickman. This issue is called The Red Coronation. Oh, I didn't tell you guys what this issue was called for Excalibur. This issue is called Verse 2, A Tower of Flowers. Um, uh, I should also mention with Marcus Toe on art in this, it was beautiful. There's a part in here where these little flaming foxes or something like that are running away and Betsy has to chase them. It was beautiful. There were also scenes where the art had to tell the story. Jubilee has a dream that Apocalypse is taking Shogo, trying to protect him, but she doesn't trust Apocalypse, so she's freaked out. And then it switches to Betsy's face as Jubilee gets up and runs away. She's going to run back into the gate to save Shogo and eventually kill him as a dragon. They then focus on Betsy's face, and then we go into another dream. It doesn't say we're going into Betsy's dream, but it's clearly Betsy's dream. So, like, literally, Marcus Toe, 100% a storyteller on this book. Really beautiful the way they're doing that. Kyle McKay talking about they're going to bring Charles back again. Interesting you should say that because in this book, Kitty Pryde gets the news that, oh no, Charles is dead. So everybody's like, we have to trust in the Five to bring him back alive. I'm like, yes, Johnny Five alive. So Emma Frost is in this book. Sebastian Shaw, Kate Pryde, Lockheed, Pyro, Iceman, and Storm are all in this book. I mentioned that Bishop is also in this book. He is, even though it's not stated anything. So the Red Coronation, we do get the Red King in this book. But first, we're going to start off with Naked Women on the Astral Plane. Hells to the yes, my peeps. This is exactly what I'm talking about. All right, Emma Frost and the Cuckoo Twins. How old are the Cuckoo Twins? Because I don't want to be like horn dogging and like I don't need a Jeffrey Epstein moment in here. Like that just doesn't need to happen. All right, this is comic book university, man. But like I think that they're of age, and if that's the case, plus it's the Astral, like just like I'm saying, it's Nick and Emma Frost at the very least. All right. So anyway, I'm just looking at this. I'm just like, hey, what's up? How you doing? So yeah, these guys freaking she goes in and she's trying to talk to them. It's like she's trying to get them on her side. It's not working. Thank you. If Scott Fitzgerald says they're on 18, but we're good. Yes, all five cuckoos are back. Like it's at the very least in the astral plane. So we've only seen I think two or three of them in the previous X-Men books, the Hox Pox books. But for now, I see all five in the astral plane at least. So we're just gonna go there. Okay. Um, First off, Federico Blee. I'm sorry, I always say it every single time that I come across it. They really use Federico Blee a lot with their art. Like, look at this. He's the color artist here. Okay. So somebody else does the pencils. Federico Blee comes in and he actually makes the faces. Like, he puts in the color, he makes these characters actually look like something. When you are trusting the color artist that much to put together a book, dude, you know that you've got a freaking superhero, all right? You know Federico Blee needs to wear a cape. That's real talk. Plus Emma, just the entire time, her face in this, the expressions that everybody has in this, and like the Black King, Sebastian Shaw, is pissed this entire book. The calmest he looks is on the cover. Like he is pissed this entire time, and you see the range of emotions between general anger to rage. You know what I'm saying? He actually attacks Emma at one point and you'll see a moment where she looks surprised and then where she's back in control again. Why? Excuse me. Because Jerry Duggan knows how to write an Emma Frost more than any other character in here. He knows how to write an Emma Frost. He knows what's up. Hey, you know who else is in this book? Batroc the Leaper. He's one of the funniest non-characters ever. I love his use in this book. Look, the general gist of this book is that the Black King, he's thinking that he's a lot more than what he's supposed to be. All right. He's like, oh, I'm the Black King. I'm in charge of things here. I'm one of three in charge, but one of these seats aren't filled. And I'm going to try and use my influence to try and help elect a red king, okay, to get somebody in charge, maybe a red queen, because and the white queen, Emma Frost, she knows what's going on. He's sleeping with some tot, and he's making all these promises to them, and so that they'll sleep with him and whatnot. But psh, come on, you know what I'm saying? The trick is she's already picked a red queen. All right, and yes, a queen. So red king, it's a queen. All right, it's a female. Anyway, um, so they're dealing with all this crazy nonsense over there. He's supposed to be sending out shipments, the legal shipments, to all these different countries to give these countries their medical supplies. You know, the three kinds of pills that Krakoa is making, so that they can keep money coming in. Now they've got more money. Krakoa has more money coming in than they know what to even do with. I'm going to need to see printed Krakoan money. And one of these days, like let's say maybe when Wolverine #1 comes out, can they help sell the book by also having like a Krakoan dollar in there? I want to see a Krakoan dollar with like Wolverine's face on the $1 bill, and I want to be able to use that and act like I'm spending it with people. You know what? I'll make it myself. Damn it. Who should be on the money? There's the question in the chat right now. Who should be in the Krakoan dollar? All right, like all the different denominations of money. Whose faces should be in the Krakoan dollars? All right. So what do you call it? The Black King, like Sebastian Shaw is supposed to be sending this money out, but he's also doing some work on the side. Some of those shipments that were supposed to go to certain African countries in order to try, and mind you, this is so they can get some people out. They were talking in this book earlier, in they don't say what, oh, for crying out loud, they don't say which organization this is, but they do say that they're working with the FBI, who is not very cooperative, but they themselves don't have jurisdiction in the United States. So I think that this is supposed to be Tom King and the CIA. That's what I'm thinking. So this seems like it's the CIA giving information to the Navy, trying to work with the FBI because they don't themselves have jurisdiction in the United States, but the FBI does. So, but the FBI doesn't really work with them too much, so they're getting some really outdated information. Mostly working by satellite. Those satellites are easily obscured because storm. Anyway, so that's like a lot of fun. That's a whole lot of fun. You think Toad should be on the money? Okay, so he's diverting boxes that are supposed to be going to African countries like Liberia that are actually Liberia is actually, and this is only in that CIA information in the beginning. Liberia is actually going around kidnapping mutants and then using them as negotiations to get more of these supplies coming to them. Wow. Wow. This is like some really real stuff. You know, I love the way they're doing this. Like the politics in these books are amazing. So check it. By him doing that, it's pissing off Emma because she's like, we actually have a schedule. You can make your money on the side, but only when we get the extra supplies. So I actually have to make an example of you. What's the example? She sends Kitty Pryde and her Marauders on the ship, the Marauder, to go out and actually destroy. They want to scuttle this boat, and they've been doing a lot of good deeds. They're actually scuttling, if you're not familiar, means to destroy a boat, to actually destroy a boat to cause it to sink. So they're going around scuttling whaling ships and whatnot, actually doing good deeds in the world. But they also go and they decide to scuttle this boat that Batroc the Leaper was directly hired by the Black King to go and bring this shipment other places so he could put some extra dough in his pocket. Cute. Real cute. You know, they expected this. Professor X definitely expected this. And of course, Emma did. But she's going to make an example of it. She sinks the whole thing. She's going to make a full example of this. It's like now, and she even said to Kitty, obviously, because Kitty's not being cool. Batroc actually tries to negotiate with Kitty. And Kitty's like, listen, I'm really sorry, you know, you are being reasonable, but I've got to do this because it's a part of my job right now. She strands him. She leaves him stranded out on a boat someplace, won't give them refreshments, nothing. Just, you're out to sea, the Coast Guard's coming, you're going to be arrested. Why? Because it's going to get Batroc pissed off at the Black King. Now he's got to deal with Batroc also and his mercenaries and make it harder for them to. It's like you got to pay them now because you promised. And on top of that, they're going to be mad at you. You're going to have a hard time getting other mercenaries to do your kind of work. I'm basically going to scuttle you. I love Emma in this book. Like I said, she gets attacked, physically attacked by the Black King in this. And she like for you get like and it's perfect. She does get surprised at first, but she just goes diamond. It's like, what are you gonna do to me? What are you honestly gonna do to me? You know? So I love that. There is one scene in here. It's kind of weird. here's this guy coming up behind Kitty, going to try and take her out. But he's there for so long that she's actually having a conversation with him, talking with Lockheed and all this stuff. And it's like, like what? Is he just standing there with the knife? It's actually with the right hand. He's just standing there with the knife, like, I'm just going to stand here and be like, and have a conversation. What the hell, man? He's going to be trying to attack her. Phase through it, for crying out loud. But she does wind up using her martial arts. She used a pressure point on him, and he's like, I can't feel my arm. Yeah, it's a pressure point, dummy. Congratulations. I liked it. I did like it. That literally, that's the only part that was a little bit weird for me. But aside from that, now she like straight. She uses her martial arts, which she learned. Kitty Pryde, Shadowcat, and Wolverine. Kitty Pryde, Shadowcat. Kitty Pryde, Wolverine, 6-issue limited series. First appearances of Ogun. Great story. This is the first time she became Shadowcat also. Pyro in this is an absolute superstar. He runs up, and Batroc the Leaper is like, a super fighter, right, with his savate. Freaking Pyro bites him. Ah! That's what I'm talking about. He gets karate chopped in the throat. You deserve it. But that was freaking awesome, man. That was just so awesome. It felt very realistic. And again, the art in here, oh my God. Like there's Black King, Sebastian Shaw being mad. There's Selena. There's Emma looking hot. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. How you doing? How you doing? So anyway, Bishop shows up and he goes and explains to everybody, yeah, Professor X got killed. They're all upset. They go out. They're gonna get like pissed drunk. They hang out in a tattoo parlor. You get some explanations in here. Storm is like, I would never get a tattoo. Iceman's like, I can't get a tattoo because no matter what, anywhere I put it, it's gonna show when I ice up. Um, Bishop is like, there it is. I already have a tattoo. Ah, way to bring some realism to the story, man. I love that. And then this is the new Pyro. He's just a dork and I love him, man. He's like, "Yeah, tattoo my face." Sorry about that, guys. Oh my God, it is freaking awesome. Freaking awesome. Kitty's having some fun. She goes and kisses the tattoo guy. She's just being free. She's being young. Like when you're young, just freaking do what you need to do. Hey, look, Gateway got brought back. Remember when he got killed? I think it was in X Force. He got killed right along with Phantom X in the X Force. But Gateway is back now. Awesome. So it's not just Manifold anymore. Love it. Absolutely loves it. Monopoly numbers. Oh, hey, Sue Ann's here also. What's up? So yeah, I'm gonna go and check out these the comments and take some questions in a little bit. So anyway, you can see right here, this is Pyro's tattoo. He got a face tattoo of a skull of a marauder basically on his face. That's permanent. That doesn't go away. That is sick. I love it. I love it. And he's just having fun. Oh, and they get a new ship. Like they get the ship, and right away Bishop's like, "Are those guns in there? We need to steal those guns. Yo, we need to take this stuff and put them on the other ship and blah 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 blah." Kitty Pryde's like, "Why? This is our ship." It's like, wait, what? They got to go to Taipei for some kind of mission. Bishop's like, I think that Taipei can wait a little while because this is a really cool looking ship. So they've got a cool looking battle cruiser right now. So anyway, she goes and grabs a couple things. She gets a call from Emma. Emma goes and reveals, yeah, guess what? I've actually got just guys, the art on this. My God, I can't stop complimenting the colors on this. Like the art is just gorgeous. I love it. Love it. So I am proud of you, Sue Ann. You're freaking awesome. So we finally get who the Red Queen is. Guys, happy day. Most of us were hoping for it. I was definitely hoping for it. It is um Kitty Pryde. They actually kind of gave it away on the front. It's like here's a Jello pudding cake or whatever of freaking Kitty Pryde on the ship, and it's red in between these two, the red and or excuse me, the black and white kings, so to speak. So we've got and the way that it happens is actually really cool because Shaw is infuriated. He's like, "There will be no Red King, you bit," and he's about to say "bitch," right? And all of a sudden from the background you hear "actually," and that's when you see Kitty Pryde taking a drink. She's already drunk, but she's still drinking, and she says, I am the, or it should have been I'm, but I am the Red Queen, bitch. She calls Sebastian Shaw a bitch. I loves me some Kitty Pride, man. This was my childhood crush growing up. Like first it was Chitara from the Thundercats, and then I decided to go human. I was like, because like I grew up with Kitty Pride, man. So anyway, they got the little thing here, Hellfire Trading Company, and you can see they got Lord Imperial title vacant. Wait, what? There's going to be a Lord Imperial? Okay, but now they're the colors, right? White Queen, Monarch, Emma Frost. Black King, Monarch, Sebastian Shaw. Red Queen, Monarch, uh, Captain Kate Pride. Yeah, okay. So now we've got bishops for them and knights for them that are vacant. They don't have anybody there. For the Red Queen, for Kitty Pride, the bishop, I'm kind of hoping that it's going to be Bishop himself. It might be a little bit too on the nose. At worst, he should be the knight. 100% he should be the knight. It can't be Storm because she's already filling a position. Maybe she could pull double duty, but I kind of hope it's not. You know what I'm saying? Storm should just be like that advisor in the queen's ear. Even though it's going to influence some stuff, she's already on a board. But I'm just saying, Shaw is all of those things, Corey. What do you call April O'Neil for? April O'Neil was okay. I gotta admit, April O'Neil also. But I think that cartoon. It was the cartoon that did it for me. I think that came after the after Kitty Pride. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it did. Anyway, so what do you call it? Same exact thing here. We're waiting accolades for the Black Bishop and the Black Knight. We're waiting for the Red Bishop and the Red Knight. We don't have a white knight either, but what we do have is a white bishop. It's already stated, even though it doesn't happen in the comic book, it states that it's Christian Frost. Oh boy. So Emma Frost's brother, her younger brother. The last time we saw him, I believe, was in the Iceman comic book by Sin Grace, where they made him a murderer. He actually killed his father, which is interesting. You went from Cheetah to Kitty. All right, so that's actually pretty good. Thank you for the $5. You know what? And now I've got Bagel. And I always refer to Bagel as my first wife. Anytime that my wife is like, babe, such and such and such, I need you to do such. I'm like, hold on, hold on, hold on. You are my second wife. My first wife is Bagel because I technically had Bagel before I got married to my wife. I'm just saying. In fact, before I even met my wife. So there's that. Um, so wow, yeah, you might actually be onto something. Oh, Fierce Deity, Shinobi Shaw. That would be something else. That would be something else. Okay, okay, I can see it. Especially since Psylocke and what's her name, Jubilee, are on the Excalibur book. Oh, I could see that. Professor loves the cat. I know what you really wanted to say. You're not wrong. So anyway, the next issue, like, dude, I'm sorry. I am just in love with this. I am in love with this idea. I'm in love with that picture. That gets me excited. So now let's move over. What do we got here? This right here. Oops. Next. What's the next issue called? Who can read it? Who can read it? Come on, that's two E's right there, right? Who can read it? What's it say? I'll give you a couple seconds. What do you think it says? Five-letter word. Two E's in the middle. What's it say? Um, this is awesome. This is awesome. I am loving this Marauders book. There, yes. Um, Joke Jelani Clayton. I think that's or Clanton. I'm sorry for butchering you. Silver Surfer, nice one. ICT Vinny, good try. But no, it does say Queen. Yeah, this is an amazing book. Um, what do we got there? Joke. Did you read this book yet? Please let me know if you read this book yet, if you have access to this book or not. This was freaking fantastic, man. I loved this. I absolutely loved this. Uh, Geez. So basically, the Marauders.
like I said, this is going to be that book where everybody's just like, boom, holy crap, look at this totally freaking awesome stuff. We've got this trading company, so we're going to have marauders out there actually handling some business. We've got people on multiple fronts dealing the legal, the illegal, the black market, all this crazy stuff. Definitely. No, you haven't read it yet. If you don't mind, give me your email address so that I can actually send you. I figure I should do a contest like this once in a while. I will send you the digital copy of this book so you can read it yourself. I will pull the sticker off and I will let you read. It's my book, so I can do whatever I want with it, right? So you give me your email address. I will copy it and I will send you that in just a little while because, yeah, I think that every so often somebody should get themselves a hookup. Um, what do you call it? And Saud, if you want, you can send me an email address and I'll give you Excalibur if you want. It's not a bad book. There's just some weird stuff in there, but the super chat should at least get you something. So, yeah, if you guys want to send me your email addresses, I will do that. If you don't want to put it on here, that's fine. I have my actually it's probably better if you do put it on here though, just because then I actually know who you are. Anybody can send me an email address and say, "Oh, this is my email address," and yeah, and it's like 10 people send it to me. So yeah, yeah. Cinna Grace's Iceman is where we see Emma's brother. If you remember, her brother killed their father, and Iceman just let them do it. Andrew Edwards, can I ask a question? I don't want to offend you. Are the X-Men hypocrites in any way, shape, or form? Please explain the question, and I'll give you an answer. I don't think I'm going to take offense to it. The X-Men might take offense to it. I'm not going to take offense to it. They're not real characters, darn it. I wonder how Mr. Guggen will fix that hole. Mr. Guggenheim? Is that what you mean? Who is Shinobi Shaw? Shaw is that dude. The last time we saw him, Wolverine was actually cutting off pieces of his body. Oh, no, 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 no. The second from last time we saw him, Wolverine was cutting off pieces of his body once every year, and Psylocke had to try and stop him. Almost succeeded. Technically succeeded, but not really. And then he was pretty much just a stump at that point. Um, but the last time we actually saw him, he was killed by the X-Men because it was in the towards the end of the X-Men book by Rosenberg. Shinobi and a whole bunch of the other ones actually jumped the X-Men. They're like, well, we're all going to die anyway, so let's die kicking butt and taking names. Saying like our favorite thing to do is try and kill the X-Men. So let's do this, and they got eviscerated. So yeah, there's that. um, oh, there you go. Silver Surfer, Oroka Omega Red in the 90s. How do you think the Morlocks will return? The Morlocks, Silver Surfer's funny. The Morlocks are funny. How will they return? Hopefully not necessarily as victims, because that's usually how the Morlocks are portrayed, and I don't necessarily want that. Um, agreed, agreed, Suan. Somebody take Silver Surfer to task. And the only person who can is Suan. Um, what do you call it? Basically, as long as they don't come back as victims, because we always see something like that. I hope they actually come back and they say, like, we don't want to be a part of Krakoa, although we'll actually have access to there, but we've always been independent. We've always had our own nation. We want to continue having our own nation. And maybe, I don't know. I don't know if they want their own Krakoa. I think they want to stay in the city. I think they want to stay, self-sufficient besides being independent. So I hope that it's just something like I hope that there's a really cool storyline where maybe they start to get a little bit out of control. Maybe the humans are attacking them, and instead of just rolling over and being victims, they actually do make a strike force. Maybe they do make a council instead of just deferring to Callisto. I hope they actually do, make a council and they do try to emulate the X-Men, but in their own way, on their own terms, because they've always been that independent force. Good question. I think black market traders equal Morlocks. Hmm, hmm, possibly. Um, this title, Marauders, has residue of One Piece and a Rum Runners history book. Rum Runners, yes, I don't know enough about One Piece. I know that's my little brother-in-law's favorite anime, So there's that. I'll just have to ask him. The Xavier Institute should return as the embassy for Krakoa. Fierce Deity. Callisto showed up toward the end of House of X. So hopefully that means Morlocks are either aides of Krakoa or living on their own part of the island. We shall have to fight through a pancake off. Silva, prepare to be smited. Thou shalt be smitten. Um, let's see. Okay, Andrew Edwards, I don't see the question and can't stay here forever. So, yeah, I got other comic books to read. I actually haven't read my Immortal Hulk yet. I'm almost finished with all of my DC books. I'm going to let most of them stay just for you guys for the sake of conversation. I have all of my Valiant comic books read, and I've got all of my, or almost all of my DC comics. So these are the comic books that I've read so far. And, plus the Marauders and Excalibur. So there's that. And now I've actually got a fat stack of comics to look at. Hey, so thank you. Isn't the past tense of smitten smote? Why, yes, I guess it would be. I guess it would be. So that's what happens. I don't know if you're aren't you a Qatari national? Because it's funny, the way that Arabs, for everybody, anybody who's curious, the way that Arabs learn their own language, Arabic, it is a very complicated language. Make no mistake, easy language to learn until you get to the grammar, more specifically, just the verbiage. There are so many ways to morph the Arabic language that it's insanity. Like it's just it's complicated and they take language very seriously. It actually spills over to when they're learning other languages. So it's interesting. Saud, it's just like I've taught like I taught in Saudi Arabia for almost 5 years, including university over in Dammam, and I'm telling you, the approach that they take to learning a language is very different than the way that Americans, at the very least, take to learning English. Most Americans are not going to know what an article is, what a preposition is, the difference between an adverb and an adjective. They're not going to know that stuff. These guys, like when an Arab is learning English, it's academic to the T. So yes, the idea that he knows smote, I'm just like, yeah, I'm there. I get it. So these are the other books that I have to read this week. There's a lot of them. So like these are the books I still have yet to read. And Immortal Hulk and Absolute Carnage are also in here, and I have to get to the oh crap, also Annihilation Scourge, which I have to get to. So yeah, I do English good. But smited found yeah, and smitten and yeah. Am I the only one that's tired of the Batman who laughs? I'm not going to disagree with you there. Andrew Speller, yes, I fixed myself. Did Emma and Shaw violently sour in one of the past House of M events or an event before House of M? They've never really gotten along, and that wasn't even necessarily retcon. They've never really gotten along. There's my Immortal Hulk. So these three I have to get to tonight before I crash. Um, and unfortunately, I have to take off of work tomorrow morning. Oof, so that I can I gotta my wife has to go to work early, so I have to bring the kids to work tomorrow. So either I'm staying up all night and then crash after they go to school, or I'm gonna have to get some kind of sleep. So yeah, mostly gonna be DC and Valiant tonight, but I will try to get to these Marvel buttes also. And also for the sake of conversation, if I don't get to it before tomorrow, before everybody goes to the comic book store, understand that the Metal Men, I pointed this out in the review, the This Week in Comics book. The Metal Men issue number 2, although you might not like it, I'm not a huge fan of what Dan Didio is doing in the book. I will, however, say a brand new Metal Man, this time made out of nth metal. It could be important, it could be useless. I don't know. But if you're a speculator, if you're looking to grab a comic book or two that is going to be a lot of money, that's probably the comic book this week to grab. Um, it's typing and it's spell check. So there's that, Andrew. Anyway, so I am out. I will talk to you guys later. Enjoy. And yeah, a lot of comic books to read. I'll talk to you guys later, man. Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Class dismissed. Chillmonger, that one's for you.